Alright guys, how's it going? My name is Nyxre and welcome back to another episode of The Good, The Bad, and The Teemo, where today I'll be covering full AD Vi. Here's a reference guide and our cheat sheet for today's video. Just like the last video I did regarding full AD Jarvan, I'd just like to mention that I did try this build out in both the top lane and in the jungle, and your build path will obviously vary a bit depending on which position you're playing. For anyone interested, an injury link to this guide can be found down in the description below. So let's start off with the good things about full AD Vi. First of all, she does a ton of damage. Obviously you would hope this would be the case if you're building full AD, but the amount of damage that she can provide is actually pretty insane. Your ultimate alone is capable of chunking the enemy carries for more than half of their health, and provided you can also land your Vault Breaker and a few autos, there's almost no chance that your opponent will survive. If you really wanted to, you can easily pick a certain member of the enemy team to bully for the entire game, and just ensure that they die every single team fight. This will probably force them to play a bit more passive, which gives you the opportunity to focus out someone else instead. Glass Cannon Vi is also amazing at 1v1 duels. She might still lose to extremely tanky champions, but to everyone else she should usually win. You can reset your autos with Excessive Force, which will help when trying to proc your denting blows. Your Excessive Force ability will be doing several hundred damage in the late game, and can be used in quick succession. Even though I'm not sure why it has any AP scaling, it's easily one of the most potent 1v1 abilities in the game. Vi also has very high area of effect impact. This comes from the spread damage from her Excessive Force, and her ability to push enemies to the side with her ultimate. Even though these aren't the most effective advantages in terms of damage, they create enough of a disturbance that most of the enemy team will have to focus their abilities on you, which gives the rest of your team the chance to retaliate. Vi is also one of the best champions in the game when it comes to ganking. I throw her up there with Zac as she has the ability to engage a gank from such a long distance away, and then has the ability to ult to guarantee that she lands a large amount of damage. This primarily only applies when playing her in the jungle, but when playing her in the top lane this gives you the ability to have some incredibly effective roams. This is helped by the fact that she is a relatively easy champion to learn how to play. None of her abilities really require that much mechanical ability, which allows for the player to focus their mind on something else going on in the game. The final good thing that I wanted to cover about full AD Vi is her ability to snowball incredibly hard. She has some insane AD scaling ratios, which means that getting a small item advantage will increase her damage output drastically. This also gives you the ability to buy some early armor pen, and deal almost true damage to any enemy who has not yet built any armor. Despite all this, there are still plenty of bad things about building Vi with full AD. After all, everyone would be building her this way if there weren't any drawbacks. The first problem is a very small one, but while winding up her Vault Breaker, your movement speed is greatly reduced. This obviously doesn't change regardless on how you build her, but if you're caught out by a stun while the ability is charging, you'll be less likely to survive because you're building full damage. Another bad thing about full AD Vi is that she loses some of her effectiveness if she does not get an early lead. One of the best things about Vi is how easily she can abuse an early game advantage, but if she doesn't get it, a bunch of her power is going to waste. Once enemies start to build some tank items, her ability to one-shot them is greatly reduced, meaning that if she falls behind she becomes far less useful than she otherwise would be. The final bad thing about full AD Vi that I want to cover actually only really applies when you're playing her in the top lane, and that is that she is weak to poke matchups. I really think you're much better off going full tank if you're faced against a long range opponent, because it'll easily be able to poke you down and prevent you from pulling off an all-in if you're extremely squishy. And finally, moving on to the Teemo, this is a section that covers the worst things about the specific build, and covers the reasons why you probably wouldn't build her this way. The first and biggest issue with Vi is that her ultimate can quite easily put her in a terrible location. If you use your ultimate on an enemy with a dash, they can easily dash under a turret or towards their team, and by the time your ultimate has completed you may find yourself surrounded by a bunch of unfriendly faces. You'll want to make sure that you're careful when using your ultimate, or that your team can easily follow up to it, or you may just end up feeding the enemy team a free kill. And kind of going with this is the final bad thing about playing full AD Vi, and that is that she pretty much becomes a martyr at best in the late game. Chances are the people you'll want to use your ultimate on will be way in the backline, and while you may be capable of still killing them, you're pretty much guaranteed to die after doing so. This isn't too favorable as it can allow for the enemy team to catch back up if they were able to get a few easy kills. Anyways, that's all I have for full AD Vi. While it is a really fun build, I still prefer to build her with a bit of tankiness as it keeps you from dying as much as you probably will with this build. If you're confident in your ability to close out matches quickly, this can still be a pretty good build, but if you aren't, you're probably better off building her as more of a bruiser. Specifically in the top lane, you're much better off going for a tank heavy build simply because you can be so much more annoying to the enemy team if they aren't able to easily kill you. Feel free to leave a like if you did enjoy the video, and subscribe if you are new around here and would like to see more. If you didn't like the video, feel free to leave a dislike. All I ask is that you leave a comment with what you believe I could have done better, so that my future content can continue to improve. But anyways, that's all I have for you guys in this video. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.